What is this Boris Epstein?
Seema Verma, who's the what is her position? Do you know it, Brendan?
CMS director.
She had this tweet about the scariest Halloween costume, and then she got to appear on Sinclair's Bottom Line with Boris commentary to like sort of talk about it.
Yeah. Now, she is an official at the Health and Human Services, right? Or what is CMS? Is the I think that's Center for. I'm sorry. She's Health and Human Services, but she is at the center. She is
current administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
She is the government, basically official of Medicare and Medicaid. On Halloween, she posted a tweet. This is the scariest Halloween costume. Goes to, and it's a guy wearing a T-shirt, Medicare For All. I mean, just contemplate the hostility that she has towards her own program. Stunning. And so she gets a visit to Boris Epstein on the Sinclair media empire. Boris Epstein, I wonder if she is to Medicare and Medicaid like Boris Epstein is to broadcasting. I will say, one of the few people who I think is worse at this than me. Boris Epstein. And so I hope he never goes away in some ways.
Medicare for All has become a popular slogan for many Democrats on the campaign trail. I spoke to the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Seema Verma, about whether Medicare for All is a feasible notion. Here's what she told me.
Well, as the head of the program, I deal with the Medicare program day in and day out. And I can tell you that there are a lot of problems in the Medicare program. So Medicare for All is simply a bad idea. What we need to do is focus on strengthening the program. You try to expand it, that's going to really threaten the program for the people that it's supposed to serve. You know, we've heard about the price tag on this, some $32 trillion. It's not something that our country could afford, and I think it would really threaten the solvency of the program. Another area is fraud and abuse. People talk about how Medicare has low administrative costs. Well, that's because we're not doing a great job on fraud and abuse. We only review 0.5% of all the claims that are out there. So, you know, I think what we want to do is strengthen the program, make it work better for seniors, not trying to dilute its focus.
Here's the bottom line. The slogan Medicare for All may be useful to Democrats looking to fire up their base, but it is an absolutely unrealistic idea. Single-payer health care would cost way too much and would actually hurt American people throughout the country.
There you go. So first off, the lie that Medicare will be somehow diluted if more healthier people enter the risk pool is absurd. In fact, there's every reason to believe that people will have more opportunities to see more doctors if you're in Medicare now versus a program of Medicare for All, because virtually all doctors would be within the program and prices would come down. Is there Medicare fraud? Of course there is. There's also insurance fraud. Heck, one of the biggest Medicare fraudsters is running for governor of Florida. But it's true. Administrative costs are incredibly small.
Wouldn't making it a universal program sort of eat into that whole fraud part of it, though? Like,
I mean, you would presumably, there would give more opportunity to those people who are committing fraud against insurance companies now would still commit fraud. They would just find it through a different Medicare. It's conceivable that the quality of the policies you put in place to fight fraud would get more robust because it wouldn't be so Byzantine with two different systems. But the idea that fraud with Medicare is a problem with the Medicare as opposed to the criminals is just bizarre. There's health insurance fraud in the private industry. Medicare, I think the big number that they used to throw around was like $250 billion. I'm not sure about that, but that's off the top of my head. But even still, that's not necessarily a huge number relative to the fraud in the private health insurance industry.
Her play seems to be towards seniors, to galvanize them to say, hey, if we give this to everyone, you're getting less of this pie, and it's going to compromise your health care and galvanize the most consistent voters.
That's what the administration has been pushing, and it's fascinating to me that they are this afraid of it.
She had a follow-up tweet after that Halloween one where she said, "Did I get your attention? Good. Medicare for All isn't a joke. It's a multi-trillion-dollar drain on the American economy, and that will bankrupt future generations. It's government-controlled health care that will strip choice away from millions. It's a bad idea, and it is scary."
And of course, we've already talked about that $32 trillion number actually represents a $2 trillion savings for the American people.
That's right. Overall. But they're worried about it.